Bast, the lion goddess, powerful, viewed as a goddess of the sun, a powerful lioness that embodied warm, life-giving energy. Bast was considered an Eye of Ra, meaning she was either a protector or avenger of the sun god, those who use the sun as their sign of warm, life-giving energy. She defended Ra against the serpent, Apep. Well, there's so many strange tales, and of all the strange tales that people have ever told, my name is Salim Siddiqui, and you're watching HotConflict.com. And this, as always, is the strangest story you've ever heard. Well, we talk about all the weird and wild stuff over here, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, and as always, if you've never watched the show before, it's incumbent upon me to tell you, you really need to have prepared yourself before you go any further. If this is the first time you're watching one of these videos, please go back and watch from the very beginning. There are many people who have prepared themselves for hearing the truth and understanding it, and oftentimes when you hear things from people that you haven't prepared to hear them, you dismiss them as ramblings of a madman or figments of ludicrous fiction or imagination. But for people who have been following along in the story and know what we're talking about, we're going to get into some very interesting stuff. Now, in the last section, we got into some very heated conversations about jihad and the concept of war and the whole idea of what it is to offer yourself in service and to defend others and the ability to defend yourself. And we talked about some of the definitions and we got into the concepts of jihad as opposed to terrorism. Now, of course, this is the point in the story where things are going to get very interesting, and we're going to be talking about this concept of the lion and the lion energy, but so much of what we just talked about in the concepts of jihad and so much of what's going on right now in the world is this fear of this East and West clash of civilizations. Are we at war with the Muslims? Are there mujahideen coming to attack us? And we had so much of a conversation last time talking about jihad and declaring the difference between jihad and terrorism, and the fact that I say now very clearly that I am a mujahid and that that has nothing to do with terrorism. And of course there are many people on the face of the earth who are mujahideen, those who are defending themselves as their right to do so in their land from any opposing threat, no matter who that threat might be. And we went through some of the linguistics and history of how things went for me in my story, and some of the history of the term jihad and the mujahideen from Afghanistan, and then we also talked about Bosnia. But now let's go back right into the focus, because right now I know that here in present time there is such a wild conversation going on in the United States about who are the Muslims and what is really going on. Is there a secret agenda? Who is the president? People are calling Barack Hussein Obama a Muslim. Is there some conspiracy? Is there a New World Order takeover? Is there a Masonic plot and plan? Is there a NK scenario? Is there a dark cabal? Is there light hats? Is there dark hats? All kinds of weird things are going on. And today we want to go through all of this and come out at the end clear, with an open understanding and not running away from any of the issues. So of course many of you have watched videos where people talk about jihad and talk about the fundamentals of jihad and talk about how important jihad is, and then they get to the end of the story and they say, then I realized that I was lied to and it was a con and that it was all a deception. Well, we've talked about a little bit of the deception between the concept of offering yourself in the field of battle, true battle on a battlefield, as opposed to killing yourself. But right now, I want to talk about some of these strange things that are going on here in the United States. Because a lot of what we talk about is looking at the past and coming to the future, looking at the spiritual concepts and looking at things in real time so that we see them in the proper light and then understand how we react to them. And what we do here is unlike anywhere else. Now, all of you watch TV and all of you know what's going on with all the gurus and pundits, and you hear different preachers and ministers and different spiritual leaders and masters and ascension and all the different fields. And I always tell you very clearly that my name is Salim Siddiqui and I am a follower of the Prophet Muhammad. Those who declare that there is only one creator, the creator of all that is, you, me, and everything in all of the realms above and within. And even some of the beings that are of the dark and all the others that are of the light that we know of and don't know of, they are all created by the one ultimate creator of all that is. Now, we in English say the term God, but it's such a loose term that it becomes incumbent upon those of us who understand different levels of the terminology in the original language. When we say the term Allah, it is referring to the supreme creator, the light of all lights, the one who is the grand and supreme architect of all that is, O my brethren. And we continue to maintain these fundamentals in that he sent prophets, and there is our father Adam, right? And all the many prophets that go through the line, and that those of us who believe in the light, we acknowledge every single one of the messengers, and their words, and their books, and their gospel, and their psalms, and their truth. We accept it all. Now, of course, we know that in our present time, our current time, what we have of ancient scripts and text of many of the ancient societies on this earth is fragments and different collections at different times and different translations that have come to us. But a Muslim, someone who says, I submit to the will of Allah, the supreme architect, the planner of all that is, I submit to his will, and he is my creator, and he is the one who's given me life and has created me and given me a soul, that we believe in fate, the final fundamental, right? That there is a plan, and that your Lord is the planner of all that is. Now, in English, we say destiny, we say fate, we say the planner, the architect. In Arabic, we say qadr, right? Both the good and the bad. Now, one of the terms that has come into common parlance in the West because of the way language works is calling this divine destiny, right? That it's not just some random coincidence of fate, it's the divine plan. And of course, everybody's trying to seek the divine plan and understand what the divine plan is. And oftentimes in English, they also call this divine providence. Providence or destiny, fate, right? And so terminology is important, and we've been going through some of the terminology in Arabic, and now we're also going to talk about terminology in English. And we want to make this interesting, and now for the first time, brothers and sisters, I'm going to call out a specific individual. Somebody who is well known amongst those in the Western society. Because I always tell you that my job here is to tell a story in real time. But I usually don't name out specific individuals. So here we go. By now, many of you have watched some crazy brother on TV named Glenn Beck. My name is Salim Siddiqui, and this is a message to you, Brother Glenn. I'm serving you notice. Listen to me, you drunken, alcoholic brother who's lost his mind at the bottom of a glass of alcohol and reached total bottom of the earth. This is your wake-up call, Brother Glenn. Now, of course, there are many people who are probably ranting and raving and doing all kinds of different things online and on YouTube and different messages. But I want everybody to make the wake-up call and hear it clearly. Glenn Beck, I'm calling you out. And if you're watching this, when you watch this, this isn't the rant of a crazy rambling man. This isn't the crazy person calling you out and saying you're insane. Brother Glenn, I'm calling you to the light. This is the wake-up call, Brother Glenn. This is the other one. And you've been expecting it. And I'm telling you, this is it. So now, when we talk about a lot of the concepts that we talk about, we get into a lot of shady areas. And you heard me in the last video. If you didn't watch it, of course, we always tell you to go back, because if you join in the middle of the story, you miss out. We're talking about the concept of the lion energy and the concept of jihad, and this idea that there is a struggle. And there are many people who are telling you crazy conspiracy stories about the East and the West, and a dark struggle and light struggle, and who is for the light and who is for the dark, and is there a secret attack? Is there a secret agenda? Are the Muslims coming to attack the United States? Is there a plot to overthrow the United States of America? Is there a secret agenda? And of course you hear many people who come talking about jihad, and then they say, and then I learned it was a con, and then I turned away from jihad, and then I found Jesus Christ, or whatever. That's not going to be this, brothers and sisters. We're all clear about what I'm doing, and we're all clear about what I'm saying. I am someone who is a Muslim, who understands the book of Allah, that which we call the Quran, and the Sunnah, or the method or the way of the final messenger of the light. And what is the plan? For our people who speak English. It is my job to give you this notice. But of course, I sound so arrogant, and I sound so confident, and I sound so adamant, like one of the crazy Muslims who always is adamant about them knowing everything, and then they sound so insane that nobody wants to listen to them. So let's go back to where we were in the story. It's the early 90s. I'm back from Bosnia. But there's starting to become a change in the West. There's starting to be more and more people talking about this Eastern-Western conflict. And the term jihad is starting to become affiliated with terrorism and fear. Now, when I first got back, this is when all of a sudden you start going on the radar of the law enforcement and government officials, right? They start noticing young men traveling back and forth from strange places. Now I want all the people who are listening and watching this on YouTube, all of you who are thinking, oh my God, we caught a jihadi, he's here in America, I found him, I'm on YouTube. Just relax, take it easy, take a deep breath, right? This is a message of light. It's going to be long, brothers and sisters. We're weeding out all those who don't have the patience to listen. And there is a reason for that. I get back to the United States and already get a little trouble from the customs and immigration coming back into the United States. Because already they're starting to see, what is this going on? And young men coming in, the radar of the local law enforcement in the United States is going up. There's chatter about possible threats to the United States. It's still the early 90s. Nothing really dramatic has happened in the United States, and people are not thinking that there's a threat, but you're starting to hear a little bit of that in the United States, and people are starting to get aware. It's at this beginning time where now I'm back in the U.S. and I'm getting involved in the Islamic community. You know, I'm giving the typical lectures, dealing with the youth, doing the typical stuff. But because I'm back from Bosnia, now everybody knows me, right? My father was already well known, well connected in the community. Now I've become this kid who went off, you know, went to Egypt at the age of 18, after high school, has come back, spent a few months back in the States. Now I've gone to Bosnia, come back, and rumors are starting to spread. And those who knew me growing up are starting to gather around. And this is the time where things start to get really interesting, because people are starting to train and get groups together. Oh, brothers and sisters who watch this video, you're always wondering, will you ever hear a disclosure about jihadi groups in the United States and what was truly going on? My name's Salim Siddiqui, and don't bother calling the authorities. They already know who I am, so just relax. Early 90s now, I'm training groups of brothers